Something very interesting is happening right now, and it has to do with stimulus checks and guaranteed income payment programs. Now, I bring this up because a lot of people have been asking, when are we going to get the next fourth stimulus check? Here's the truth. A stimulus check from the federal level is not coming. There is no way the federal government and Congress can get this passed and get the checks out to you. However, cities, counties, states can all send out this money, and they're doing it as we speak. Now, I want to get to more of the updates, what's going on, who is actually sending out checks, and I want to get all that information out to you. So I will do that in this video, so make sure you do not miss a single second of it. All I ask is if you can spend 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. Now, let's talk about stimulus for a second. Why are cities, counties, and states sending out stimulus checks and providing guaranteed income to their residents? Well, it's actually pretty simple. I've said this for over a year. Stimulus checks on the federal level are not coming out. They will not be sending out a stimulus check to 300 million Americans. It's not going to happen. The reason why is simple. They do not have the support within the House or the Senate to get that passed. Also, they do not have the funding to get that passed either. This is what creates a major problem. And now that the debt ceiling bill has been signed by President Biden, we've increased the debt ceiling, or actually suspended the debt ceiling until January 1st, 2025. There's no way we are going to get another stimulus check. But the cities, the counties, and the states are going to send out money. And they're doing this for one main reason: to help their citizens, to help their residents. That's the reason why. This is why we're starting to see more stimulus get approved in the city, the county, and the state levels. And just think about this. If you are from a Democratic state and you are seeing that, yes, inflation is still fairly high in your state, but you are now noticing that your governor is starting to consider some form of stimulus or a tax credit or a rebate or something of that kind. Guess what? They are doing that to stimulate that economy, the economy in that state. They are trying to increase employment. They're trying to decrease inflation. But at the same time, by decreasing inflation, here's the problem. If you add stimulus, a lot of times it pushes and has upward pressure on inflation. But, I digress. Here's what I can tell you though. And we're going to go over just a handful of different cities and counties that are providing some stimulus at this time. And I want to read to you what these are, because this is what we're going to see. Don't expect the state to come out and say, oh, you're struggling? Well, here's $800 for you. Go and spend it as you wish. No, they're not going to do that. But here is what they will do. Just look at this. So this right here says stimulus check update. Direct payment worth $1,000 to go out to 1,000 people in 5 days. This was actually just from this morning. But if we go down here and read it, it says there are a few days left before participants of the Guaranteed Income Program in Los Angeles County receive their next payment of $1,000. The program, titled Breathe, issues payments to 1,000 participants every month, with recipients getting these monthly payments for approximately 3 years. Recipients receive these payments on the 15th of each month, meaning that the next payment will be issued on Thursday. Okay? Now, why is this so important? Well, this is important, number one, because it's helping out 1,000 people. And number two, it's $1,000. Okay? Though that's actually a fairly big number. Now, not every single city or state is going to do that. For instance, look at this. This one says, stimulus check update. Direct payment worth $500 to be sent to Minneapolis residents in 10 days. This was actually just done this morning as well. It says in 10 days, a guaranteed income program in Minneapolis will process its next payment to recipients. The payment, which will be sent on June 20th as part of the Minneapolis Guaranteed Basic Income This is a pilot program, which began in June 2022 and is expected to pay recipients monthly cash payments through June 2024. 200 households were selected to receive payments from this program, and they can all spend the $500 payments in whatever way suits them best. This is one of the keys, because guess what? When it comes to stimulus from the federal level, for example, currently we still have some stimulus that is coming out. That is that if you have a student loan, you do not have to make payments until August 29th of 2023. So that's actually a pretty big stimulus, because for most people that's going to amount to $300, $400, $500 per month that they don't have to spend. So that's actually pretty big. But for that, you have to have a student loan. Or let's say you are going to get a tax credit for buying an electric vehicle. Well, again, you have to buy an electric vehicle. And some stimulus, for example, additional food stamps for SNAP EBT, for things like that, you have to buy food. Or let's say affordable housing. Again, that money and that assistance goes to housing. In this case, right here, you can spend the money whatever way you want. Now, it doesn't stop there either. Look at this one. It says Harris County Democrats propose guaranteed income program. So Harris County is down there in Texas. So Harris County Democrats plan to roll out a guaranteed income pilot program in the coming months. Driving the news, Harris County commissioners will vote today on the Uplift Harris pilot program, which would give $500 monthly to as many as 1,500 families in need for 18 months. Now, I believe this one, it might only be 18 months. Yeah, this one is only 18 months. There are some out there that go for 18 months, and then you will get an additional 18 months. Okay? So here's another one. Stimulus check update. Direct payment worth $500 for more than 300 families will be sent in 11 days. That was actually out this morning. It says a program sending $500 monthly payments to 305 families in Sonoma County, California, will send its next payment to recipients in 11 days. This is the pathway to income equity. Pilot program selected 305 families out of almost 6,500 applicants to be eligible. Okay, so to be eligible, applicants have to have at least one child under the age of 6 years old, have been affected in some way by the virus, and have a household income of no more than 185% above the federal poverty level. Again, these programs are out there. Okay, this shouldn't be a surprise to people that this money is available, because it's there. Here's another one. This is Ann Arbor. This is over in Michigan. Ann Arbor to start a guaranteed income pilot program. It says the city of Ann Arbor will give monthly cash payments to a group of about 100 low-income households using $1.6 million of its American Rescue Plan Act. Okay, these are the funds, the ARPA. It says the pilot program will focus on people who supplement their income with non-traditional entrepreneurial side gigs such as babysitting, Uber food delivery, or odd jobs. Okay, people getting the cash payments are going to get $528 a month for 2 years. So again, that's in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Well, here's another one. I want to show you this one as well. And the reason why I want to show you this one is because this is part of what we're going to see. We are seeing right now that some states, some cities, some counties, they are offering small packages, a small stimulus program. Okay, we're going to give additional relief to 1,000 people, to 500 people, whatever, 100 people. But they test it. They want to test to make sure who they're giving the money to is going to the correct group. And if it doesn't really work, doesn't impact the community, doesn't impact the economy, then they would probably stop that program or they'd shift. Well, look at this. Obviously, this is working. It says the New York Guaranteed Income Program goes from pilot to permanent. That's actually pretty big. It says the initiative to give some mothers $1,000 a month is expanding as lawmakers consider using city funds to boost the popular cash assistance program. It says the Bridge Project, which launched in 2021 through the Monarch Foundation, started as a temporary program that gave monthly debit cards to pregnant mothers in northern Manhattan neighborhoods, hoping to test the benefits of no strings attached cash on the first 3 years of a baby's life. In the coming months, the program will open to mothers in Brooklyn, Staten Island, and Queens, as well as the upstate city of Rochester, New York. Participants receive $1,000 a month for 18 months, and then $500 a month for another 18 months after that. This is actually very important, okay? I want to talk about this for a second. So for this program, first off, it started in a smaller area, okay? Through the Monarch Foundation, started a temporary program that gave monthly debit cards in northern Manhattan neighborhoods. Very specific, okay? Then what they are doing now is they are actually expanding the program to mothers in Brooklyn, Staten Island, and Queens, as well as upstate New York in Rochester. Okay? Now, that's actually very important because this is actually what we're seeing. We saw the same thing down in California, where in California they started with the very small cities, then they expanded, and then guess what? LA has some guaranteed income pilot programs. Very important. Not only that, here's the other thing that many lawmakers have been pushing for. If we are going to give a family or an individual, let's say $1,000 a month, great, perfect. But when that $1,000 ends, let's say it ends in 1 year, we cannot just cut off that family or that individual from receiving any payments. They have to taper off. What that means is exactly what's happening here. If participants are going to get $1,000 for 18 months, then you go and cut that in half, and then it's a $500 payment for an additional 18 months. But what some lawmakers have been asking for is, okay, if we're going to give $1,000 a month for, let's say, 18 months, and then we're going to give additional payments for another 18 months, let's taper that off. Let's start at like $800 for 2 months, $600 for 2 months, $400 for 2 months, $200 for 2 months, and then it just goes away. All right? Now I know that doesn't equal 18 months, but you get the idea. It doesn't go from 1,000 to 500 to 0. It doesn't go from 1,000 to 0. It goes from 1,000 to 800 to 6 to 4 to 2 to 0. That is what many are requesting. And it's not just for stimulus checks or guaranteed income programs. It's for child tax credits. If we cannot make this a guaranteed thing, a permanent fixture in our law, then let's bring it back, but let's taper it off. Let's not go from $300 a month to 0. It just hurts families. All right? So that is what we know at this time, that more checks have been approved, more states are considering to provide additional relief to their residents. But at the same time, the reason why they're considering additional relief is because they see signs of trouble. That is true. We do not know what inflation is going to do. We're going to have a new report this week, so we'll see what happens in that. We do not know if the U.S. will dip into a recession. We don't know what unemployment is going to look like. We are seeing there's more businesses out there that are expected to start to lay off more employees. And as this happens, as we get more layoffs and we continue to see inflation, the problem is the American people are going to suffer. And this is why we're talking about these programs now as opposed to in 2024, because in 2024, it could be months too late. So that's what we know this time. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all the latest news and updates. Again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I will see you guys on the next one.